to it on the Havoc Zone simply by going to 977ESPN.com and or downloading the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app. You can also watch it tonight, not just on Flow Hockey, but on WAFF 48.3.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be on the TV.
Going to be on the TV tonight.
Wow, and you found the mic, right?
Yes. Oh,
okay.
my head. No. Listen, no. This is something that literally has consumed my life for the last 36 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just simply me not taking advice from John.
Yep.
Like, you're the one that gave me the advice.
Oh, you know.
You just gave it to me on Wednesday, and I didn't listen to you until Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I was just giving you the advice that my mom would have given me, where it's just like, ask a person.
Ask an adult?
Ask an adult. Because, I mean, he's one of the guys that would probably take the mic. Why?
Yeah.
I have no idea, but Scott ended up having it.
We had a wireless mic. If you were listening and watching the Havoc Hour on Tuesday night while we were down at the VBC, normally we're at Zimbrewski's for that, but Tuesday night was the third annual season ticket holder skills competition. And so we had a wireless mic so that John could go and interview players, hop on the ice if he wanted to. We were trying to make this a little bit more interactive than what we normally do. And so the wireless mic that we were using was Steve's. So we got it, we brought it back. I had it in my bag. I said, "Hey guys, you guys take this equipment back. I'll take this equipment back." We all had it coordinated. We walked away. Wednesday morning, we come into the building. I start unloading my bag. I take the wireless mic. I take the box that it's connected to so that, the wireless mic can work, and I set it on a table. I then tell Moulton exactly where this is. "Hey, man, it's right over here on this table." I get a phone call at about 5 o'clock on Wednesday. "Hey, I've got the receiver, but where's the microphone?"
Yeah, you kind of need that. It's like me leaving without my keys.
Yes. And so Moulton asked me that. I'm going, "Moulton, it's right there beside the box." Like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, do you not see this thing? It's a microphone. We've got 50 of them. You know what they look like. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, what the heck? So then he's like, "Nope, not here." I was like, "Okay, well, let me check my stuff." So I go back through my bag. I scout. Again, if anybody has ever even looked at a microphone, you know how big those things are. It's not easy for you to lose those things in a bag or something like that. Like, you're going to see it if it's sitting there. Couldn't find it. I come in here Thursday morning, and you can ask John. John, I literally turned this entire studio upside down.
Yeah.
I'm searching for this thing because not only do I need this wireless microphone when Steve and I do the Havoc games together, because Steve is up in the press box doing it up there, and I'm on the ice with the team. But not only is that happening, but also on a day like tomorrow where we have 2 UAH basketball games taking place, and then right after that we have a Havoc game, Scott needs it.
Yeah. And we're going to be busy boys tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. And make sure you guys check out 97.7 ESPN over on Twitter, a.k.a. X, on Facebook, online, because you're going to be able to stay up to date on all that's going on the WZZN airways. On top of that, make sure you guys head on over to WZZN TV, where you can watch the show and you can see me and Joe, and of course, Joe, there's a little bit of an elephant in the room, and I'm not gonna stray away from it, man. I'm not gonna back off and just not talk about it. Well, Drew,
what? He's not. Look, Drew's not here.
He's gonna be here.
Are you? Oh,
we're talking with Drew.
Alabama elephant.
We will be talking with Drew.
I thought you were talking about the Alabama elephant.
No,
I was like,
no.
I mean, again, he's going to come in here in about what? About 5 minutes, and he's going to be talking to us about Alabama and Kentucky. So I thought that's what you were talking about. He's not here yet.
No. I'm talking about me standing in this room, Joe.
I know, you do look good, though.
I appreciate it.
Camera's working for you.
I got my arms super pumped
Dude,
up.
You are so trying to throw the arms.
I'm
into
not.
This
is just you know how I do this. I like a what is it called? A praying mantis. They put their arms together when I'm formulating.
Dude, praying mantises. They have like the little.
But then they go.
Yeah. If you're watching WZZN TV, you see 2 grown adults trying to act like a praying mantis.
You're
right
getting
now,
the full effect.
This is why
of
you
the
have
show.
to watch WZZN TV.
Regardless, the Bandy Man is not in. He's not in the glassed booth.
No,
all right.
No.
And I will say this. We usually shy away from certain things like that change, but for Bandy, I will say this. All right. This is a guy that he helped me out whenever I came down to Huntsville in the first place. One of my first true friends here in Huntsville. And the paths have kind of separated. But I do want to say for the last 2.5 years that we have been doing the Morning Blitz, I got to admit, it has been wonderful. I love the dude. I've got his back all the way through. And the same goes for Joe. I mean, you became a Blitz brother, all right?
Which I actually do like that name, as a matter of fact. Normally, the
There you
names
go.
you come up with are very dumb. I'm just going to be straight.
Once you're a Blitz brother, you're always it. Even Smokey Mike knows this. So I just want to say we appreciated Bandy, and I freaking love that dude.
Yep.
He's such a good guy, genuinely, and I know whatever he's doing moving forward is going to be absolutely insane.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
just wanted to throw that out there.
And he's an amazing person. And even the times when he was up here, not on the air, and I was up here with my son, like he was so awesome with my son, and he was so great and everything. So I love you, bro.
Yeah.
I do. I love you, man. So
He's the gamer that we all didn't deserve, but we all wanted.
oh no, trust me, he was absolutely the gamer in this, and so I'm now trying to figure out if John needs to find a new tag team partner for the challenge, or
No, we could probably get Bandy.
look, I'm just asking.
Why not?
Because again, I'm still looking at you and being like, all right, so you gonna go talk to Divergence? Like, we're just gonna get this thing going, because now we're at this point in time where WrestleMania season's about to be coming up. Yeah, I mean, the Royal Rumble is about to happen. We've got WrestleMania coming up. The new game is about to drop here in just a little bit. And so, this challenge that we have had for like basically the last 4 months is kind of something that we need to get nailed out in this whole Beat the Blitz challenge that we are creating on 97.7 ESPN The Zone is something that we need to do. Now, also, never forget that wherever you are and you're listening to the Blitz, no matter if it is on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, if you're listening right now in Winchester on ESPN Winchester, or if you are watching on WZZN TV, we are always brought to you by Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys that you need to talk to about all your roofing needs. If you have roofing problems, make sure to look them up online. Feel like I can get that free quote today. And remember, John, what is it? What is that? What do they do? What do they do?
They appear? No, they show up.
They show up. They're
That's
not
right.
Doctor Strange.
That's
They
right.
don't do the circle and just show up. But that is exactly what they are. So make sure that you can always hop in and go see those guys if you're having roofing issues, because unfortunately we have more snow coming up next week.
Oh my gosh.
No, I
You're
know.
telling me I can make some more snowmen and play some more snowball fighting?
No, absolutely. No, absolutely. And this is what throws off. Do you know how much we have planned next week? Between Havoc Hour, we have you and I at, it's a good company. We're supposed to be going, and we have basketball games we're doing. We have hockey games. We have only thing we don't have is like a football game. Like, that's basically the only thing that we're not doing. But we are getting you ready for a football game on Monday night, because all day Monday is basically going to be getting you ready for the national championship is taking place. It's weird because normally on Fridays we talk a lot about, the college football, and we're previewing like a semifinal or a quarterfinal matchup when it comes to college football. But there isn't one like that. And it's like, oh yeah, no, we still have to wait until Monday for that. Monday. Now, you want to talk about backwoods sayings? Not saying Monday. And saying Monday. Man, I'm telling you, I've got a great aunt right now up in heaven that just said, "That's my boy."
Man, you
That's
deserve
my
to
boy.
be on Tennessee Valley
that's my
Radio.
boy. He just said Monday. He just said Monday. So, yeah, we have the game on Monday. But before that, we have 4 division round matchups that are going. And look, I could be the guy, and I know I'm sitting here repping a Kansas City T-shirt or Kansas City sweatshirt right now, because
What's that
unlike
about?
that room where it's 90 degrees, this room is always cold, so I'm always in a hoodie.
I feel like I'm in the Bahamas right now. I had to take off my jacket earlier. It's the Coyotes jacket. Everybody's seen
It's
it.
not
You
a
all
jacket, man. It's a sweater.
know. It's the combination.
It's a sweater.
This is what
It's
I do.
a hockey sweater.
This is what I do. You don't just wear the sweater on its own, all right? You put the hoodie underneath it, and now it's a jacket.
No, I know this because
and now people love it.
I have tried 3 separate times to rock my Havoc jerseys with a hoodie underneath. And I think it's because I'm barrel-chested. Like, everybody looks back, and look, my wife and I do this all the time with our kids. We look and we go, you know what? They got your eyes. Hey, they have your nose. Like, you're going through this.
Yeah.
My mom was barrel-chested and is barrel-chested. So am I. Okay, and so I've got this barrel chest happening, and I know that it just makes everything look a little bit bigger than what it really is.
Okay.
But in saying so, rocking a thick hoodie underneath the jersey, the hockey jersey, dude, it makes it look like I'm that kid on the Grinch that's going to the North Pole. Like, it looks like I got 6 layers on, and I really don't.
From the Christmas Story,
or
also,
the Christmas Story, either one, whichever way you want to go with. And so I'm still trying to figure out. So I'm every single time I have went thinner and thinner with the hoodie underneath the jersey. First time I had a thick hoodie like this that I'm rocking today underneath it. Last time I had my CM Punk one just because it was a little bit thinner. And now I've got a third hoodie that's even thinner that I'm going to go with if I need to rock it.
Well,
unless I'm on the ice, and then I'm totally going with the thickest thing.
The thinner the jacket, the better.
Yeah.
And then you can even rock the hoodie as well.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, we do need to get to the phone lines. We will do that we'll do that right now. Why not? Let's do it now.
Drew coming up.
We got Natty Danny on the lines with us, and Natty Danny, I'm not going to stop calling you this because it's embedded in my brain.
No, you keep doing it because it's not done yet. Okay,
Monday
after Monday game is played and the winner is crowned, then it's over. It's okay. I'm good with it. I'm just tickled to death that a lot of the DJ or sports radio professionals like yourself acknowledge it, and I do appreciate it. Yeah, speaking of barrel chested, Joe, I don't know if you ever met me, dude. I'm the guy when it comes to barrel chest.
I mean, like you know what it is. Like you could be like I could be rocking a regular, like I can't wear normal sizes at all. It's so strange because larges and you know this, if you're going like I wear like a large, that's what should fit me, but the shirt is too short. If I wear an extra large, it's way too big. It's like it's crazy.
Well, my wife has purchases me probably about, I'd say 20 of these untucked shirts. And then, of course, I've got a ton of jerseys. But these untuckeds, they're 2X on top, and they're slim fit. It's crazy. But, it is what it is. But, with that said, let's move on from fashion. Let's talk about what I want to talk about is when it comes to the Red Wings. The Red Wings, right now, I think they've won 8 out of the last 10 games. Todd McCall is the new coach. I think they're either second or first in the power play. They're playing unbelievably well. I knew this team was good. I know it might not be the team that gets to win the Stanley Cup this year, but I think one more year under their belt. And Talbot, Cam Talbot, that played for UAH, plays for the Red Wings, did quite well last night. I think they outshot us 2-1, but we won the game 4-2. Fellas, this Red Wing team is the real deal, just like my Lions. And what's great about the Lions, switching over real quickly before I end, is that the Lions, it is a home field advantage to the playoffs. And when if we're lucky enough to win the NFC, we go to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, which is also indoors. And the team plays really well indoors. And in my closing, I have a question for you. I posed to Tom yesterday. They're going with as far as gear, because Tom likes that kind of stuff. They're going with traditional gear for the football team. Now, with that said, so does that mean that the Washington Commanders are going to wear the Redskins jerseys?
Oh, I love when you asked him that question because you're like, wait a second, does that mean that they could do that? I mean, in all reality, in all seriousness, like it means like what their number one uniform is this year is what they're talking about instead of when they say traditional. But I do love the fact that you asked that because for a lot of people that are wondering, why is he even bringing this up? It was David Moulton that was actually on with Tom. It may have said this last week where he said, look, the NFL is looking at a lot of things, including the fact of the Washington Commanders having the approval to change the name and uniform back to the Washington Redskins.
Well, again, I lie because I have one more take on that.
That's all right.
Because you acknowledged it. And listen. Bottom line is this: when there was the Cleveland Indians, when there was the Washington Redskins, Eastern Michigan used to be the Hurons, okay, but now they're I believe the Bears or the Eagles. Now, the point I'm trying to say is this: I don't think all these sports, professional or college, had any intention to disrespect the native Indian in this country, really the ones that disrespected the native Indians in this country is the federal government when they stole their property.
Which
okay,
is why we
so
have the
if you
Trail
really
of
want to
Tears.
be nuts and bolts, that's what that is. So bottom line is, we need to stop this DEI, which we're starting to do that now, thank God, because you know what? We're all the same people. We all stand up as a guy to go to bathroom. Woman sits down. It's the same thing, man. Okay, we got to stop the DEI. This is sports and entertainment, and let's get back to basics where football was football, baseball, all sports were where they were, and it was for the entertainment of the fan that could afford a game. Nowadays, it's almost you can't. But the point is this: you're at an event to entertain yourself with you and your family, your friends, and that's what it's all about. So let's get rid of this. You know, Redskins, you know what? Or I should say Commanders, you should wear the Redskins jerseys because that's what you are. I associate you with the Redskins. Billy Kilmer, all kind you can name off players better than I can.
Oh, you're talking about Rig? See, for me, it's always Riggins. Like, I always go to Big Rig. Like, I love that guy. That guy's
anyway,
amazing.
Long story short, that's enough rambling. But listen, fellas, I'm excited. It's going to be a great sports weekend. I really do believe Ohio State's going to win. I don't know if they're going to cover the spread, but I really think they can win this game. But Notre Dame is a really good team, and congratulations as far as they got. But I think, and what blows my mind is that when we played Ohio State that we beat this year, they didn't play that kind of game. They didn't throw the ball that much. I don't understand why they didn't, because it scratched my head because they probably would have beat us pretty good. And they try to force us pound the ground and be physical versus trying to get it in the air. So anyway, with that, listen, fellas, I appreciate it. Love the show. I'll have a great weekend. I'll talk to you Monday.
All right. Thanks for that, Wolverine Dan. I'm saying that. That's what I'm saying on it.
Oh, yeah, Wolverine
now,
Dan.
Before we go to break, because he was talking about Washington and the potential name change that has been brought up, what's also going to be interesting is because of the, I say, unfortunate thing that happened yesterday with the passing of Bob Uecker.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot go on social media, no matter where you are, and not see clips
just a little outside
of the movie Major League, which is about what team?
The Cleveland Indians.
And so I would be interesting because if people start seeing more and more of that, then you're going, okay, so why did they change the name again?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
And see, again, if Washington does do this and they change their name back, then if Cleveland would do the exact same thing, because I promise you, go watch a Cleveland baseball game for the Guardians, nobody's wearing Guardians.
It's just as awkward. It's just as awkward as the Commanders.
And it's one of those things of, the way that it was done. But let's get away from that. Let's talk a little bit more. We've got Alabama this weekend. Auburn is playing Georgia. You also have Tennessee back in action as well. All of those are happening. So ESPN Winchester, not only 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drew DeArmond of Talking Ball is coming up next here on The Blitz.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, non-stop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, non-stop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book non-stop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Alabama knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chop talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
You need to get out there. And then,
from the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. A mostly clear sky expected for this Thursday night. Low temperature is going to be falling into the lower 30s for the overnight. Heading into our Friday, high temperatures warm into the mid and upper 50s for the afternoon. Heading into Friday night, scattered showers return into the forecast, mainly after midnight. Low temperature is going to be falling into the upper 40s for the overnight. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Continuing on the Blitz on 977 ESPN The Zone and ESPN Winchester, where you can watch us on both locations. All you got to do is go to WZZN TV on YouTube, on X. We're also going to be sharing that on Facebook as well, so make sure that you go in and get there to like our pages so that you see everything that's happening, including the Havoc Hockey tonight, UAH basketball tomorrow. You also have Havoc Hockey tomorrow night as well. And then spinning that around, we also have Alabama basketball taking place. Drew DeArmond. Brunch with Bama. Boom. Somebody copyright that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Brunch with Bama as Alabama is heading up to take on Kentucky.
Yeah, it's taking on a little bit of a different feel. Certainly, if Alabama had handled business on Tuesday, they would have been one of the two undefeated teams left, along with Auburn, who destroyed Mississippi State 88-66 Tuesday, and now they're going to go on the road to Georgia. There would have been a lot of focus on two road tests for each team. Can they come out of the weekend unscathed? Auburn continuing at number 1 in the country, Alabama number 4, but we all know what happened. I was on Pressure Row. Alabama, just got whipped. They got beat. There's no excuses. Chris Beard had his team, primed and ready to go. Chris Beard is an elite coach, not just a really good coach. He's an elite coach because, again, he took Texas Tech to within an overtime of winning a national championship. He had Texas going in that direction before the unfortunate things that happened a couple of years ago. We know that team that he left, Rodney Terry, I believe went to the Elite Eight. And that's why Rodney got the job, because he did a good job of directing that team and continuing on a great path. Now, they did end their bleed, so stop their bleeding against Oklahoma the other day. So they've won one conference game. But I would just tell Rodney, you better keep winning some games, because I mean, this league is unforgiving. But Alabama just didn't do the little things right, man. I believe I was been on my show talking ball. I've talked with you guys. I've talked on other shows throughout the state. The key was, they couldn't turn the ball over. And I knew Ole Miss was one of the better pressure defensive teams in the country. They love to pressure the ball. They love to take chances. They average 10-plus steals a game. Sean Padula, the transfer from Virginia Tech, averages about 2.5 himself. They're going to pressure you. They're going to take some chances. You have to take care of it. And, I put this on my X account right after the game. When Alabama has 21 turnovers and 20 made baskets, you're not going to win a game. I don't care where you play it.
Yeah.
And I think in some cases in the aftermath, people have done too much focus on the Ole Miss jersey. No. Especially still in college basketball, it's a coach's game. And they have an elite coach, and they have a really good team. Yes. I mean, they've got 7,000-point scorers. Some say that their schedule hasn't been as tough in the SEC. I don't care about all that. I just know they're undefeated. Now they've got a very interesting test. It's a huge rivalry. Mississippi State's smarting because they lost last Saturday at home to Kentucky 95-90 in the hump, and then they go on the road, get eviscerated by broomless. Auburn team.
They were without a broom.
They were, but they certainly still had Chaney Johnson from UAH, and he was outstanding with 17 and 8. They had Denver Jones, who had an outstanding defensive game because they did a great job on Josh Hubbard, who I think ended up 2 for. He only made 2 shots the entire game. Really struggled from the field. And so Auburn just locked up. Chad Baker-Mazzara was outstanding. They've got a really good team, and they're another old team. Miles Kelly, the transfer from Georgia Tech, had a double-double. But they have a very interesting road trip, too, because Bruce has had some trouble over at Georgia. Nate Oates has too. Yep. This is the best team Mike White's had. I think they're unbeaten at home. They've been really good at home. They won't have Jonah. I think Jonah, the schedule for Auburn couldn't have worked out much better from the standpoint when Jonah got hurt, because if they could get through this week and navigate this, they have a whole week off until the next Saturday, so Jonah might be back. And I think we were talking about that on Talking Balls when I believe they're going to be playing Tennessee.
They are playing Tennessee
in Auburn Arena, and it's going to be game day there.
Yep, game day just announced that they are going to be there, and in doing that, they've also said that there's a potential for him to be back.
Right.
But
they're not going to guarantee.
They're not guaranteeing anything, because we talked to Ike Jones earlier from the War Report a few days ago, and he said, look, he goes, you want to think he's going to be back for Tennessee, but if he's not 100%, then they may even punt on that game.
No, they're not going to take any chances. They got to have Jonah to try to get back to the Final Four and win a national championship. But I felt like when I saw the injury, because I happened to be watching the game when it happened, and he missed the last 13+ minutes at South Carolina. You could tell it was a severe ankle sprain. So I felt like 2 weeks. I felt like, okay, to give Jonah a chance to completely heal, it's, as long as there's no ligament situation, things of that nature, it's going to be a 2-week injury. So if I were Bruce Pearl and Auburn. But see what it does, the underlying, the silver lining is it's allowed a guy like Chaney Johnson to continue to grow in that Jalen Williams role, getting better and being a junkyard dog. Dylan Cardwell can play some 5 and do a nice job, and he's a veteran. And then you can even go smaller. You can they've got a great freshman like T-Hod Pettiford. T-Hod's actually the one that won the South Carolina game, because that game was very much in doubt. But T-Hod did a great job, getting to the rim, making threes, also distributing to his teammates. So they've just got a really good team. It allows Ja'Kai Howard to continue to grow in his reserve role. So when Jonah comes back, they could be an even, I don't think it's going to disrupt chemistry. They're just going to be an even more confident squad. And so right now, Auburn's the best team in the country, in my opinion. They're the best team in the SEC. But I don't think it's time to overreact and act like Alabama is not a great team. Alabama was ranked 4th in the country before they lost to Ole Miss. But when you look at Alabama's losses, they've lost to Ole Miss, who was in the top 20. Now it's probably going to be in the top 15, near the top 10, especially if they beat Mississippi State. Now that's going to be tough. But if they can go to the hump and win that game, and they're still undefeated going into next week, that's a 16-2 Ole Miss team. Led by an elite coach in Chris Beard, Mark Adams, his assistant, outstanding defensive coach. And then you look at it, they've also lost to Oregon and Dana Altman, a very good team, in the Big Ten. And then they lost to Purdue from the Big Ten. So this is no time to panic. Look, Alabama was not going undefeated in the SEC. And no disrespect to the Auburn fans who are listening, Auburn's not either.
No, nobody.
Okay? Nobody is going to do that in this meat grinder of a league.
Yeah, this isn't 1996 anymore.
Yeah.
No, this is not Kentucky, Florida, and a bunch of podunks like it used to be, where everybody else was, where you could go 13-5 in the SEC and not get in the NCAA tournament because it was so weak.
Because you were 13-5, but you end up with your schedule being like 23-25.
Yeah, right. Well, and because you probably lost 3 or 4 games in the pre-conference, and so again, this is not around 2000, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, when near the and really from 05 to around 12 and 13, when Billy Donovan was dominant, he won a couple. We know Calipari came to Kentucky and he got them rolling, but it was basically a 2-bid league. It really was. It was kind of crazy. Alabama got in 12, but the SEC was very, very weak in basketball. It's not weak anymore. And now the shoe is on the other foot. He's 0-4 and lost to a LSU team under Matt McMahon that I don't think is very good.
Yeah.
And they blew a lead on the road, lost that one. And now you're having to go to Mizzou, who just beat Florida on the road. And Mizzou, think about this, Missouri is really flipped because they were 0-18 in the league last year. Yeah, I said it, 0-18. Now they're 3-1. They beat Kansas earlier this year in the out-of-conference as well. They haven't been ranked, but they sure as heck are going to be, especially if they whack Arkansas on Saturday. So Missouri's very good. It's one of these things where if you're in Alabama and if you're in Auburn, if you win the league, like if you go 14-4 in an 18-game schedule and win I think that can win the conference, And if you're Alabama, you ought to feel pretty good if you go 13-5. Now, the real litmus test about how good the SEC is going to be is how you do in March, because guys, the standard for a conference and the way you're judged and the greatest year a conference ever had was the 85 Big East. And the reason I say that is, and I know, Joe, what year were you born?
84.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, 84.
I was 10. John,
the way you look at me,
I already know. Okay, I already know. You were an embryo, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't even a thought.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing of that year. The Final Four was unreal. You had 3 Big East teams: St. John's, Villanova, Georgetown. I mean, you had three of the 4, and I want to say the other one was Memphis State. But I'm trying to remember the 4th one that year. But 3 of the 4 were from the Big East. And then the finals, and by the way, back in those days, they didn't try to play it. They didn't have those huge, these 30,000, 40, 50,000 seat arenas that they try to play it in now. Like for example, Mercedes-Benz Stadium or SoFi Stadium or whatever. They played them in basketball arenas. So the Final Four that year was in Rupp Arena. So it was in Lexington, Kentucky. And I'll never forget it. Georgetown played Villanova. Georgetown had mauled Villanova twice in the regular season and had beaten them soundly. And Villanova was an 8 seed. They were. It's kind of funny. It was 2 years after NC State, so they were almost like it wasn't as big a Cinderella story as NC State, but it was close. And so, and again, and Rolly Massimino and those guys, they played really well. I think they shot 79% from the field. It was as close to a perfect game as you're ever going to see, and they beat Georgetown by 2 because Georgetown was trying to win their 2nd straight national title. They had won it in '84, and they had also played in the finals in '82 against Jordan and of course we know North Carolina. So that was a heck of a run for Coach John Thompson, the late John Thompson. But see, that's where the SEC. That's how they can Because right now everybody's saying it's the best best start they've ever seen from a conference. They're completely dominant, the best league in the country. But to really make it stick is to go into March and do it. Because we've seen the Big Ten be great, and then they fizzle out. We'll see what the SEC does, but the standard bearer is that 85 Big East.
So you were talking about like the mid 2000s and about how the records didn't really match the play on the court. Like you could have a fantastic record, but they were making the tournament in this.
Yeah.
And so as you were talking, I looked up the 2006 and 07 basketball season.
Yeah.
And do you remember Alabama's basketball record that year? I'll give you their in conference. Their in conference, they were 7-9 in conference that year.
Yeah, I think that was Godfrey's last year. I think he quit halfway through the year. I think that was it for him. Because if I remember correctly, because his 5-year run of making the NCAA tournament was 02, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then the next year is when they really started to slip.
After this season, because he did coach all of this one, he still had one more full season left, and then he resigned in 08-09.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason why I say it, because they were 7-9 that year.
Yeah.
But they were 20-12 was their final record. They didn't even come close to making the NCAA tournament because there were only 4 SEC teams that made the tournament that year. It are 5: Florida, Vandy, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee.
Okay.
And it goes back to you're talking about the record. Bama was 20-12 that year. Georgia was 19-4. And these are the records that these teams had. Ole Miss was 21-14. Mississippi State was 21-13. But the wins weren't the same as what we're seeing right now.
They don't carry the quad 1 type stuff, which is what they do now. Pretty much every game in the SEC is a quad 1. And I appreciate you looking that up because I couldn't remember if it was the next year that Godfrey, where those teams completely ran out. And he actually resigned mid-season.
Yep.
But it was the year after. So and like I said, man, it was one of those things where by the time he left, the SEC was weaker. And his recruiting had lost steam, and that's also around the time 06-07, the next year, after the 06-07 year that you're talking about, 07-08, that fall is when somebody named Nick Saban showed up in Tuscaloosa in football and totally flipped the football thing going around. And Godfrey went from the highest paid coach on campus to we know who the king was.
Right.
And so within just a year and a half, Godfrey was gone and certainly ended up at NC State for a while and Cal State Northridge, and now basically is retired from coaching. But again, it's one of those things that the SEC, and I think, Sankey's, been getting some criticism because of it'll be 2 straight years without football being national champs, and because of only getting 3 teams in the playoff. But one thing he has done beyond a shadow of a doubt, and it was one of his mantras when he took over for Mike Slide, was to improve basketball.
Yes.
And it's improved it, tenfold. And now it'll be interesting to see, like we were talking about Indiana today, because Indiana basketball is still, ever since they had to fire Bob Knight over 20 years ago, they just haven't been able to find that dude who could last. And Mike Woodson is one of his guys, but this is the 3rd year for him. It has been rough. He's an NBA guy. They've been getting blown out in league play the last couple of games. Everybody on social media probably saw all the empty seats in the student section and the fire Mike Woodson. They just haven't been able to find it. We were going over a couple of SEC guys that could be candidates, and one of them was Bruce Pearl, who's 65 years old, but he's an Indiana native. He coached at South Indiana, won a Division II championship, and his name came up a few years ago when the job opened. But I'll just be honest. I think he's an Auburn lifer now. He's become such a part of that university. They were very, very aggressive, too, Auburn, and to their credit. When Louisville was mentioned, when Indiana, he's making tons of money, $7 million per year. Let's be blunt. I think we all understand how dangerous Auburn Arena has become, and that at some point in time, it's going to be Bruce Pearl Court.
Oh yeah, no, and look, and this is the thing. And a lot of people don't put stock in this because in football we haven't made as big of a deal about it.
Right.
But in basketball, he's done this with an Under Armour school.
Yeah, now he's going to be a Nike school.
Now he's about to be a Nike school. So
which is something he's been working on for years.
Right. And if he's been able to build this with being an Under Armour school, because the biggest fear is, especially in the AAU circles and all these leagues and stuff, is nobody wants to wear Under Armour stuff. Like, nobody wants to wear Under Armour basketball stuff. Like, football may be different, but nobody wants to wear Under Armour basketball stuff because all of their attempts to get into that market, the shoes either been bad or it's just their gear hasn't been one that gravitates players to bring them towards them. Now he's about to be in a Nike school, which is about to open up even more doors because some people still don't want to think about coming to Auburn because of them being an Under Armour school.
And by the way, it's a very underlying thing, but Indiana's an Adidas school.
And that's even worse.
So I just think for Indiana, the other scenario we went over, I just think the best scenario for them, and look, I'm not throwing shade at Ole Miss. They've done a hell of a job investing. They have the pavilion that Andy Kennedy helped get built. They went and got Chris Beard after the unfortunate circumstances. But I'll be honest, Texas can be a really political place. And again, I am not condoning domestic violence, but all those charges were dropped. Texas should have kept him. I think they should have. They should have suspended him. But they should have stayed the course because he had them on track to be a national championship type program. But you're about to have to probably reset yourself. He's gone. I think he was the perfect fit there. But he's also would be a really good fit at Indiana because he's a Bob Knight guy. See, a lot of people that don't dig, that don't follow basketball, don't really understand that. They don't understand Chris Beard. First time I ever saw Chris Beard, I don't know if people remember this, but when Bob Knight everybody knows he left Indiana before that 2002 season, and he spent a couple of years away, but then he was hired at Texas Tech, and they did a special on ESPN called Night School, which was basically a behind-the-scenes look at what he was doing in Lubbock. Because again, Lubbock is a far cry from Indiana.
Lubbock is basically like just you take my hometown, New Hope, and then you just put it in the middle of the desert.
Right. There's nothing there.
Nothing there.
But one of his assistants was Chris Beard, because I remember watching him because I saw every episode. Because as much as Bob Knight was a polarizing guy and he was a jerk and he was a bully, if you're a basketball person, Bob Knight was one of the greatest basketball coaches to ever walk the planet. And he was one of the rare ones that there's always, he's an offensive guy, he's a defensive guy, he's this, he's that. Bob Knight was both. I mean, he was motion offense, man defense. He was and people forget how young Coach Knight was when he actually became a mega star. He was really very young in his 30s and 40s, and then he carried it on through the rest of his career. But the thing about Coach Knight, the one thing he couldn't do, John Calipari is kind of going through this right now. He had a hard time changing and adapting. And then the biggest thing is he couldn't control his temper. I mean, he's a brilliant basketball mind, and there's still people that swear by him. I wouldn't have had my son play for him, but you can't deny his brilliance as a basketball coach. And so it's just like you had to watch. So I wanted to see, what Bob Knight was doing at Texas Tech, and that's how I discovered Chris Beard. And then we just talked about Lubbock.
Yep.
And you see Chris Beard take Texas Tech within an overtime of winning it all. That's how good he is. And so to me, Indiana, it's just like when Nick Saban came to Tuscaloosa for Alabama. Alabama, since Coach Bryant had retired, Gene Stallings had the most success. He won a national championship, had a good 7-year run. But they had still never found that dude because Coach Bryant was there from 58 through 82. They hadn't found anyone that would stay and do it for a prolonged period of time. Coach Stallings, there was some leadership issues from the president's office, and the athletic director that he didn't get along with, because Coach Stallings was still in his 50s. But he just decided to step away. There was a lot of alignment with President Witt when Coach Saban was brought in, and I know the Bill Battle thing was a little rough, but then they go get Greg Burns. So they were able to keep a guy for 17 years, and it was by far Coach Saban's longest tenure.
Oh, absolutely.
But they kept him there for 17 years, and it was like igniting a match. Alabama, they separated themselves from everybody historically during his run. He had the greatest run we've ever seen. Indiana can be revived again. They won national championships in 76, last undefeated team ever, 81 and 87. The last time I think Coach Knight went to the Final Four, I want to say was 92. I think it was Calbert Chaney and those guys. They lost to Duke.
I want to say Indiana made it to the national championship against
Yes,
UCLA.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was 02.
Yeah.
Now they lost to Maryland. They lost to Maryland.
Yes.
And that was a Coach Knight team. But remember, he never coached them because he got dismissed. And Mike Davis, ironically an Alabama guy who's now the assistant for Penny Hardaway, took that team with Jared Jeffries, and they nearly won the national championship.
And before we go, because we do got to get to a break as
Right.
well, obviously, Drew, brought to you by McCurry Motors as well as Alumni Hall. Also, if you want to make another Alabama connection with Coach Knight, when he coached Team USA back in 1984, C.M. Newton, who had just left Alabama, was one of his assistant coaches as well. So all those connections with it when it comes to the state of Alabama and Indiana.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, another connection there, a story real quick. The closest that 1976 team came to losing was in the NCAA tournament to C.M. Newton in Alabama. There was a lot of mutual respect there, but I'll just real quick, if Alabama's going to have a chance to bounce back in Rupp, and, Nate's already won in Rupp, but they're going to have to take care of the ball, which they did not do against Ole Miss. Ole Miss held them to 3 offensive rebounds. They're going to have to hit the glass harder than they hit it. It's not so much the three-point shooting, even though if they shoot it well, that's certainly going to help. But Kentucky's not the same kind of defensive team as Ole Miss. It's a little bit better matchup. But Alabama's going to have to control the glass, hit the old boards, protect the basketball. And then I think if they get Darion Reed back as well, and we'll hear from Nate Oates later today, we'll find out about that. I think they can beat Kentucky, but it's going to have to be a high-scoring game. It's going to have to be a 95 to 88 type game, much like we saw where Kentucky was able to win on the road in the Hunk 95-90. Alabama would have to win on the road like that. It's going to have to be a high-scoring contest.
Drew, we appreciate. Now you're not turning your mic on.
Oh,
You've been telling me to
I can't take
You've been
over.
telling me to
I
rap.
can't take us to
You've
break.
been telling me to rap for the last 10 minutes.
I would have done it 10 minutes ago.
I know you would have, okay? But we just kept going down a rabbit hole that was extremely fun.
Drew,
and it looked great.
we appreciate you as
Thank you.
always. Wonderful to have you. We'll
It's a new era. It's the Blitz.
It's
Yes,
the Blitz.
yes.
But
Which
we
is
will.
what this next segment's going to be. It's going to be a blitz.
A 1-minute blitz. So don't go anywhere because you're
Well
listening
done.
to the Blitz here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
Hello and welcome back in to the Morning Blitz. John Abraham, Joe Hunk. You know the deal. Here in No Man's Land.
Drew and I didn't stop talking about Indiana.
No, the conversations continue constantly.
We were just still doing it when he said, "Welcome back into the Blitz."
I got the screens all jangled up all over the place.
Look, man, it's okay. I'm trying to do all these things and make it look even. I'm trying to do all this new stuff. I got you. I've got it covered.
No, I got it covered.
4 hands. We got this.
Hey, here's the thing. That entire last segment was probably the oddest for me because I just felt like eye candy to this stream over here. I crossed my arms. I was like, you know what? That's what I'll be. I'll be a little bit of the clickbait.
How on earth can your girlfriend love you? Is there enough room in that apartment with all the love for yourself that you have?
Oh, you got to double that down with John as well. There's not a love left.
I mean, seriously. Like,
I can't hype up anything else that I'm doing over here.
What's really bad now is because here's what's going to happen is if you're over there for any period of time, and because that room is warm, you're going to continue to start rocking the shirts like that.
I know.
If this goes in and you're still over there in the spring and or summer,
let's hope not.
You're going to be starting to go into like cutoffs and all that stuff, and then I'm going to have like dad bod issues because I'm always going to be over here in my hoodie, and so now I'm going to have to start working out some more. I'm going to have to get my little man in the gym with me, although he's 6, so he can really basically just do body weight. That's all he can do.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's just going to be like we're going to be trying to outdo each other the entire summer.
I mean, isn't that what it's all about? Challenging each other as we push forward.
And then also there's the tattoos that I want to add to the arm as well.
Okay, so what's the first tattoo you want to get?
Okay, so there's 2 actually.
Okay, well I said the first one. All right.
I know it's 1 of 2. Both of them are for my son. One of them is Maui's hook from the movie Moana.
Okay, makes sense.
I want to put it right on my wrist, basically where I have my watch right now.
It's gonna be tender.
It's gonna be a little bit tender, but I've told you guys this story before. I always carry Maui's hook in my pocket because my son said it brought Maui good luck, so it's bringing me good luck.
Just don't fall on it wrong.
No, it's not as pointy. It's rubber. And that's the other one. The other one is a audio clip of my son saying his name that I want on my forearm. But his middle name is Finn, so I want it to be a shark fin. So I need somebody to help me design that part. So I have the ideas. I just need to get it done.
Could just be a shark with Finn's hat.
Just take the phone call.
Come on!
Just take the phone call.
Man!
Congratulations to Luke Burnett as well as Blake Campbell and Tommy Murr, who have been named to the Small College Basketball, the Bevo Francis Award Top 100 list. And if you have watched Tommy Murr shoot, you know that he can shoot a 3 from the logo and not even bat an eye. Continuing on the Blitz when we come back, 256-576-4977 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and ESPN Winchester.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you scheduled your wedding and even your child's birth around your school's game? Of course. But it means more than that. It means you're home to hundreds of Fulbright, Truman, Goldwater, and Rhodes Scholars. It means starting out as the birthplace of American public higher education, and now leading the way in unmanned spacecraft. This is the SEC, and here it just means more. What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That there's an honest-to-goodness chandelier in your tailgate tent? Perhaps, but it means more than that. It means pioneering medical solutions to predict new flu viruses. It means leading globally diverse teams to eliminate starvation in developing countries. And it means being home to one of the nation's top cybersecurity programs. This is the SEC. And here, it just means more.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by Guthrie's. Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant, is an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Here are thoughts from gymnastics head coach Ashley Johnston ahead of tonight's meet at Kentucky.
It's week 2 of about 15 weeks during our gymnastics season, and so I like to think of that as mile 2 of a long marathon where you really have to be ready to take on any and all that comes with each stretch of a race. And I think our team did a great job starting strong, doing exactly what they've been training in the gym and just transferring that into competition. That's been one of our goals leading into the season, is to start strong, but to not make it such a big deal. To let Friday just to be a reflection of the workload that they put in throughout the week. And I'm really proud of how our team, who is a little bit younger than past teams that we've had, they really jumped in, competed like seasoned veterans, and I was really proud of how they transitioned all their work onto the competition floor.
I'll have more in a moment.
Founded in Haleyville, Alabama in 1965 by Hal and Melissa Guthrie, Guthrie's was America's first chicken finger restaurant. Guthrie still uses the family's original Southern fried chicken recipe in every chicken finger they serve. Fresh, hot, and fast. Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers has been Alabama owned and operated since 1965, and Guthrie's is still growing strong. Come see us soon. Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant, and now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com.
We've got you covered on Saturday for Alabama men's basketball at Kentucky. Tip-off from Rupp Arena is set for 11 a.m. Central, with our coverage on the network starting at 10 a.m. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Guthrie's. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Long before winter weather approaches, the Alabama Department of Transportation prepares to maintain interstate and state roads that could be affected by snow and ice.
Yeah, we start training and doing maintenance on snow and ice equipment months in advance to make sure everything is ready for when the freezing weather comes. We will have crews working around the clock that are prepared to plow snow and remove trees that have fallen into the roadway.
Our mission is to keep roadways safe and open. We try to achieve this by focusing on interstate routes first and then secondary roadways by traffic volume.
If the weather allows, we'll start pre-treating the roadways during the day to prepare for the temperature drop at night.
AlDOT wants to keep the public informed during these winter weather events. The best way to learn about state road conditions is the Algo app and through local media. Brought to you by AlDOT, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Rain moves into the Tennessee Valley as we head into the overnight early into your Saturday morning. Temperatures only drop into the mid-40s. Rain is going to stick with us at least through the lunch hour on Saturday afternoon, but after that, it does look like the vast majority of us are going to be dry, though we maintain a mostly cloudy or an overcast sky through Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, temperatures actually climb into the mid-50s. We drop into the low 30s as we head into the overnight early Sunday morning. A mostly cloudy sky Sunday afternoon. Temperatures climb just into the mid-30s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Joe Hunk, John Abraham, 256-576-4977. Welcome to the Blitz.
Second hour, final hour, best hour on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I am Joe Hunk. He is John Abraham.
That's me, yeah.
And the phone lines are wide open to you at 256-5764.
97.7.
Figure we can try with that one.
Wow, it feels like the other day.
Dude, I love the fact that it is everything. It's amazing how anybody that does any sort of job, and I know that somebody's listening right now that's going through what John's going through, when you've been doing one job for 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, 2.5.
Two and a half years.
I don't even know at this point.
And then we kind of swap it, and you're like, well, you're only 5 feet to the left. You know, it's a big change. There's a lot more that's part of this.
I would say so, and it definitely does. I like to sit down. All right, I like to sit down, and I like my little spot.
Stander, dude. If I could stand, I would totally be a stander. Like when we do the Havoc Hour, I feel weird sitting in those high chairs.
I understand that though.
You know, like I want to stand during this whole thing. Like I love to. That's just who I am because of how I'm constantly moving. So yeah, no, I absolutely get it. Now, what was interesting is. Was it probably about 35 minutes ago, Wolverine Dan called in, and he was talking about the Detroit Red Wings. And I know a lot of the listeners don't care about the Detroit Red Wings. Preds did win last night, by the way, in a shootout.
Oh, yeah.
They did.
They've been looking a lot better. I'm just saying.
Better.
They're getting into the groove of things.
They've been looking better. But he was talking about Cam Talbot, who is a UAH alum that is in goal for the Detroit Red Wings. I only bring that up because that also leads into what we're having tonight over at the VBC with the Huntsville Havoc taking on the Macon Mayhem. Do you know why those things are connected, John?
Because they used to share an arena, UAH and the Havoc.
No, but very close.
Because one of the Havoc players played on UAH's hockey team.
That is even closer.
Noah Finstrom.
But tonight, there's actually going to be 2 former UAH Chargers on the ice.
Oh, so who's playing for this Macon team?
So Noah Finstrom and his former Charger teammate, Connor Witherspoon, is also going to be on the ice tonight for the Mayhem Macon. So it's going to Mayhem Macon. Wow, I just went dyslexic on you.
The bacon Macon.
Yeah, the bacon Macon Mayhem. They're trust me, every other team in the league is calling them that because they are getting fried every single night. And not in a good way. So they are, so you're going to have two former UAH Chargers on the ice tonight, and Noah Finstrom and Connor Witherspoon is going to be playing for Macon. So that kind of connects the whole UAH Charger world when it comes to UAH hockey. And if you also want to talk basketball as well, basketball tomorrow night, you're going to be able, or tomorrow afternoon, you're going to be able to hear that on the Charger Zone as well as 97.7 and Talk Radio coming up tomorrow afternoon when all those games get going over from Spraggins Hall.
Yeah, I also wish we could play every single one of the SEC matchups that we have coming up this weekend because, oh boy, there are a lot of them. You've got Alabama versus Kentucky, which is going to be a very fun matchup, and 8 versus 4, which is one that, of course, Alabama coming off of that loss against Ole Miss, it's going to be a little bit effective. It's also going to be played in Kentucky, so this is going to be definitely a tough one for the Crimson Tide. On top of that, Auburn, Georgia. Georgia's been up. Georgia's been down. I don't really know where to put Georgia right now in the SEC.
Well, no, they've been up until they played Tennessee.
But again,
they were even up at the half.
Nobody actually knows where this Georgia team's sitting at this season. It's kind of an anomaly, all right? Auburn, of course, #1 in the country. Jonai Broom going to be out for this one. It's going to be a very fun matchup on an ugly court. So if we did have this one on the radio, it would be a lot better to just listen to. I have a big problem with that court. Tennessee's face-off against Vanderbilt. That's going to be a fun 6 versus an unranked Vanderbilt Commodores team tomorrow.
That whole arena is going to be nothing but orange.
Oh, yeah. 2:30 p.m. You're going to be able to listen to that one, or you watch that one. Texas versus Florida. Texas, their only SEC win was against a former Big 12 team in Oklahoma. They're still looking for their first win in true SEC play. I get it. They're 1-3, but they still have to get past Florida. They have to win against this Florida team to finally get that win, and it's going to be a tough task because that's a 5th-ranked Gators team. You get Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, Texas A&M, and that rounds out the Saturday schedule of SEC basketball. It's a lot of fun, and I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. I appreciate that one site you threw my way.
That one site?
I gotta admit, man, that TV service doing something different for me.
Hey, look, I'm telling you, the site that he's talking about, not going to talk about it on the air, but
it's a great site.
It is for you personally, you now have access to all NHL games, all NBA games, all Major League Baseball
Forget
games.
about that. I got sumo wrestling the other day.
Oh, so you can talk Japanese sports, but I can't?
Because they were American commentators talking about these big 400-pound dudes throwing each other into the crowd.
Last night, I figured out and found out how to get the Hanshin Tigers on my television in 4K so that I can get ready for when baseball season starts. And my little girl sitting in my lap because she was dead tired. Little man was back there playing PlayStation because he loves Roblox, but nobody else in the house does, so we just let him play. And so I'm sitting there. I've got the baseball game on, and you know what? My daughter starts screaming in the middle of this as we're sitting here waiting to go eat Mexican last night.
Oto-chan!
Oyama!
No, does she actually?
She seriously did, because a guy named Oyama came up to bat. He plays first base for the Hanshin Tigers, and next thing you know, she's over there going, Oyama!
So I thought she would say Oto-chan because she is saying daddy in Japanese.
No.
Maybe she's learned that
I don't
already.
even know that, okay? I literally know 0 Japanese, okay?
Oh, my what?
I know 0 Japanese except for hai and auto. That's it.
What's auto?
Out.
And I know hi is like hi.
Hi is like yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're like, oh, this player's playing with the sticks right now sucks. Hi.
Hi.
Exactly,
and then whenever they hit a home run, okay, we're not Japanese though. Let's all be real.
You can talk Japanese sports, but it's not okay for me to mention them.
Sumo wrestling and baseball.
You guys are going to appreciate this when Roki Sasaki actually signs, and I can tell you all about this man.
This is true. You're going to be the one person with infinite knowledge of this guy's video game stats. But I will say this, all right? You know how there's Japanese baseball players going over to play American baseball?
Yeah.
Soon enough, there's going to be sumo wrestlers playing in the NFL.
No, there needs to be. Look, it's the same footwork.
There'd be a lot of holding, though. There would be a lot of holding.
Well, it would be. But what I'm telling you is I have talked to offensive linemen in the NFL, and they say the footwork is the same. It's the exact same footwork if you are a sumo wrestler as in what you are as a football player. It's the exact same. So, yes, it does make sense to be able to do something like that and to play. And watch this weekend, I promise you, because the first game that we're going to be airing on 97.7 of the NFL playoffs this weekend is going to be the Chiefs and the Texans. Watch the Chiefs offensive line and the Texans offensive line. Watch them, and I promise you, you can put a sumo wrestler right there, and the footwork is the same. I'm not saying the athletic ability is the same. Obviously, the weight differential as far as working out and everything is different. But from a footwork standpoint, if you're trying to get rugby players into the game, like as punters and even as like defensive linemen and things along those lines, if you're wanting to do that, you could get a sumo wrestler from another sport and be able to teach them how to play the offensive line. It's the same. It is.
Yeah.
And I'm not. And look, I may be crazy on this, and I don't know why I'm the only one thinking this, and I could be totally off on it. The Texans have a really good chance at upsetting Kansas City this weekend.
I don't think you're the only one that thinks that either. This is a Kansas City team that's kept a lot of games close, and this is also a Texans team that can spark really good, like they did against the Chargers. That is all supposed to be a joke, by the way. But yes, I do think that there could be a chance that C.J. Stroud goes off, even though this is one of those games that a lot of people are kind of forgetting about, because I believe, what is the spread's like the biggest in this one?
I won't say it's like an 8.5 or 9.5 point spread in this game.
The disrespect.
No, and even like ESPN Bet right now has this as an 8-point spread. It's actually not the largest because the Detroit Lions game is actually going to be the largest at a 9.5 point spread, and there's something about that we'll talk about in just a second. But with this Houston and Kansas City game, Stroud last week was 22 of 33, 282 passing yards, had a touchdown and interception. And he also was able to connect with Nico Collins for 122 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay, that is against one of the best secondaries in the NFL.
Yeah. No, I thought the same thing. And also, you got to give credit to DeMeco Ryans' defense because 4 interceptions against Justin Herbert totally just threw Jim Harbaugh into the ER. So, and that's, maybe more literal than it needed to be.
No, I mean, no, you're not wrong.
Heart procedure and hip replacement.
That was Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's the one that got put in the hospital because of Nick Saban. Remember, Tebow cried and Urban Meyer went to the emergency room?
But did you see the news for Jim? For old Jimmy boy?
No, I have not.
He's getting a heart procedure and a hip replacement. Something like that. Yeah, so it straight up threw him into the ER. That's all I'm saying.
But the Texans' defense is the part of this where I say if they're going to win, it is because they're going to get some sort of turnovers. And look, Kansas City is the one team in this that you can say knows how to turn it on when they need to. They could be. It would be very similar like what you talked about with what we used to talk about with like Jordan and the Bulls, or even like with LeBron and the Heat and stuff. Is like, look, man,
that was Bandy, by the way.
I know it was, but what I'm saying is you start looking at this and it's going like, look, we're the best team in the league. We're the best team of we know that it is all about that. In basketball's case, those 7 games, and in football's case, that 1 game in February. We know what this is about. So, yes, if we struggle during the regular season, but everybody is healthy, we're in a place that we can win, we know that when it gets to the playoffs, we flip the switch. And they may be. Mahomes may come out this weekend and throw for 350 yards, have 3 touchdown passes, and Travis Kelce may have 115 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Like, he may.
I honestly see it going that way a little bit more. I feel like whenever it comes down to these big games, and I will give it to the Texans, good win for them against a good Chargers team, but I will say this, the Chiefs are going to be on a different level. It's not even going to be something that the Texans could really handle, and I think that they're going to notice that. And on top of that, they're playing in Kansas City. It's going to be frigid. That's going to come into play. I just want you to know that because this is a Texans team that traditionally plays inside of their arena.
Tomorrow, the high is supposed to be 24 degrees with the low being 13. Now, obviously, this game is going to start at 3:30, but it's going to end at nighttime. That's the reason why I bring that up. There is going to be a 14-mile-per-hour wind, but there is not supposed to be any sort of snow.
Okay.
So
good.
It's just going to be cold.
And we all know that, C.J. Stroud's used to this. This is an Ohio State Buckeye we're talking about. The guy knows how to handle it, right?
I mean, it's not like he hasn't played in cold weather before.
No.
I mean, they just play in a dome now. Like it's
You
not
get
like he hasn't
comfortable, though. You get comfortable.
No, trust me. It's what that's part of this that makes me laugh as well. Going back to like you and Tom, like I joke on you about your New York accent, and Tom talks about being from the North. I pretty much, if I did the math right, hasn't Tom lived in the South more than he's lived in the North in his life?
You know what? I don't think that's the case. I don't know.
Is it,
I don't know
like if you
case.
look at, because he says what, he's 64 years old?
Yeah.
Has he spent more years of his life in the South than he has in the North?
So I think at one point he did move down to Florida before I was born, and then he moved back up there, and then he moved down again. But I'm only 24 years old.
You're right.
Okay, so that's a small sliver of his life.
But I say that because even now, when all this bad weather and stuff starts to come in with like what we may have next week with the snow and ice and stuff, you even now he's like, this is nothing. And I was like, so which one is it? Is C.J. Stroud getting used to being in Houston, or is he going to be good because he's played in Ohio State for as long as he did? Because, again, the weather shouldn't affect you that much.
It shouldn't. But the difference between me, Tom, and C.J. Stroud is we don't feel pain. That's the thing. And cold is just like that. Cold is a little bit of pain that you can think about and say, it's not going to affect me for too long. And then we get inside and it's warm.
256-576-4. No,
97.7.
Yes, as he says that, we have cover 5 questions coming up for you here in just a little bit as well. And I'm curious, why is everybody hating on the Army-Navy game all of a sudden? Like, why is this just taken? Like, even yesterday, Feinbaum took a shot at it. And I'm sitting here thinking, why are we hating on the Army-Navy game now? Like, if anything is the same in college football as everything else in this world has changed, the Army-Navy game has stayed the same. Like, it is the eye of the hurricane. As the entire college football world is getting into, like, this Category 5 hurricane right now, Army-Navy is the eye in the center. It's calm. We all know it's there. It's comfort. Why is everybody taking shots at Army-Navy now? I don't understand. 256-576-4977. Nope, took my mouth away from the mic.
I could have done it.
I know you could have done it, but I was just going ahead and helping you out. As we continue, your phone calls, cover 5, coming up next here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, and The Blitz.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helped shape me into who I am today, and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The education benefits I got from serving helped me get my degree and jumpstart my career. The training and leadership skills I've gained from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people, help my neighbors, and look out for my community. I know that when my neighbors need us the most, my fellow soldiers and I will be ready. My family loves it here, and my part-time service means we get to stay here.
Serve part-time in the community you live in as a proud member of the Army National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio. And have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
Hello, listeners. I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Orthopedics. You're thinking bones, muscles, and joints, right? Well, what else comes to mind? Maybe your spine, therapy, or an arm cast? What about sports medicine? What do you think about when you hear that? Are you thinking about the largest orthopedic group in the state, caring for the most student athletes in North Alabama? Or about the fact that they are teamed up with the state's largest hospital-based sports medicine program to provide care to more schools in North Alabama than any other group? If you are, you have TOC Sports and Huntsville Hospital Sports Center on the brain. If you're not, you should, because Huntsville Hospital Sports Center and TOC Sports have partnered for more than 2 decades to establish a state-of-the-art team of certified athletic trainers and orthopedic specialists who successfully continue to meet and exceed the sports medicine needs of schools, athletes, coaches, and parents in our community. Committing to kids, committing to community, committing to care. That's Huntsville Hospital Sports Center and TOC Sports.
Welcome back into the Morning Blitz. John Abraham, Joe Hunk, 2 hours straight. We're already in that second hour. It's felt like it's flown by. Just remember that this show always presented by the wonderful people over at Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you need a free quote, look them up on FlemingHSV.com to fill that out. And remember that Fleming always shows up. Getting into a lot of different subjects on this fun Friday here in No Man's Land, even though I'm on the other side of No Man's Land now.
Well, no, and I actually, if you go and follow us on 977 ESPN, you can watch us there as well. You can also watch us on WZZN TV simply by going to YouTube or Facebook, and you can watch it right there. But I put out this question just a second ago, and we talked about it at the very end. Why is the Army-Navy game just taking so many strays right now? Like, those guys do nothing except for get prepared to protect the country.
Wasn't it just somebody brought up the idea of putting it at the beginning of the season?
So
Is that it?
Yeah, it's Joe Klatt that said, you know what? This game is kind of in the way, or not in the way, but it's kind of getting covered up now because you have Conference Championship weekend the weekend before. Mm-hmm. You have the Heisman Trophy vote in the Heisman Trophy ceremony immediately following it. You also have everybody starting to get ready for the bowl season and or the college football playoffs. And so the game is just kind of, it's there, but it's also starting to have a lot of random stuff be put around it.
Yeah.
And so Joe Klatt's idea was, let's move it to the beginning of the year, and let's have that be the quote-unquote kickoff of the college football season, where we start the season with Army-Navy, where it's like the game and the only game, and that is what the focus is. Now, for somebody like myself, and as a lot of others that have been to the Army-Navy game and been a part of this game, I have not been to it, but I have worked in all these events that are connected to the Army-Navy game, and obviously Crawdad in his history, and we gave tickets away for the Army-Navy game. Part of the appeal is like going into Lambeau and watching a night game in the snow. Like, you want to see Army-Navy in the snow in the Northeast, and you want it to be seeing it where it's like everybody that's about to go defend our country is playing a football game against each other, and we're all sitting here focused on them because once they leave here, let's be honest, military members, even in 2024, don't get the love that they should. They get more love than what they did after, around Vietnam, but they don't get the love that they absolutely deserve. Neither do teachers, but different segment. And so it's this whole thing of it's kind of like this spotlight. Like, majority of the time, outside of Army and Navy fans themselves, we're really just wanting to enjoy a football game where we're not stressed. Because every football game we're stressed. I don't care if you're playing, you're stressed for about a good 2 minutes if Alabama is sitting there playing Arkansas State Community Tech and they didn't score a touchdown on the first drive. Like, how many times has Bama, oh, crap, here we go. Take Jalen out. Just take him out. Let's not even do this garbage today. Let's take him out. We should be destroying Arkansas Tech Community College's 3rd Street cousin right now. And we didn't score on the first drive in one play, and I'm stressed. I'm stressed now. I'm stressed. Did you not see what he just did? As I'm sitting here complaining about how stressed I am, this guy just rushed for 1.5 yards. He got 1.5 yards on Alabama's defense.
Contarius Dixon.
Kick them all off. None of them are worth what we're paying in NIL. Like, you get some sort of stress.
I mean, some people would, all right? Those hardcore fans that really look at every minuscule detail. But I'm more of like a guy that whenever it gets to the SEC play, that's when it gets stressful. Or if it's in the NFL because of, fantasy football. But outside of that, you are correct. Nobody really has, a hate towards an Army or Navy team unless you are in the Army or the Navy. You're just watching this game to see the cool uniforms, to see the cool festivities, to see the guys jump out of the plane and land in the middle of the field. That is why we watch this game. It's a great one. And it is an idea. You do throw it out there because I didn't think about it. This game is traditionally in the cold.
Yes.
So that's what I'm thinking. Putting these, service members out in the crowd, how does that change that environment, that vibe to
Look, it's the only game in the world that you want to get to 2 or 3 hours beforehand.
Exactly.
Because you want to see all of our military members, whether it is Army and Navy, actually walk into the stadium and then get into their seats. Like, it's part of the tradition.
Yeah.
I have buddies that have been to the Army-Navy game every single year for like the last 2 decades. And they every single time, even this year, which this year was different because of how good both teams were, but even when these teams were a combined 1-22, like, they were getting there early because they wanted to see all of the traditions that come with this.
Yeah.
And there's just something about it when it comes to the game being played in cold weather and the snow. If you turn this around and you put it in August in like the week 0, if this was just week 0.
Look, we can't do that though because we have to have that first game in Dublin, Ireland.
So if you put this game in week 0 and you say this is the game that we're having right here and this is it, then it doesn't matter if it's in Washington, if it's in Philly, if it's in Baltimore, wherever it is. It's then still going to be 97 degrees, humid, and not as enjoyable. Like, it's just going to be like another football game then.
Put it in Alaska then.
Actually, I would so be for a game in Alaska.
I mean, why not? I mean, there are places up in Alaska where these service members are. So, I mean, it makes sense in ways.
I would absolutely be with this. Matter of fact, this game has only taken place outside or west of the Mississippi one time, and that was back in 1983. If you're curious about that, that was when Army-Navy was actually played in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. Outside of that, this game has always been played in Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland. There's been a few games, obviously, in Jersey because that's where MetLife Stadium is. You've had one game that took place in Illinois and Chicago, and that took place in like 1926. But outside of this, it's always been northeastern cities in the cold. And nobody said anything about taking it out of the Northeast, except for Tom. Tom wants it in Atlanta.
Well, I just said Alaska, so.
I would totally do it in Alaska. I don't even think Alaska has a football stadium that is big enough that we could do this.
I mean, you're right.
I mean, I don't know. As a matter of fact, let's go to the phone lines, because if there's a historian that knows more about the Army-Navy game than anyone else in the world, it is this man right here. Crawdad joins us because we are talking about how Army-Navy is just randomly taking strays. Just, everybody just working their lives, going to school, and it's January 17th. The next thing you know, Army-Navy people are waking up going, why are we getting shot with things? Like, what the heck? What's going on? Crawdad joins us right now on the Blitz. How's it going, sir?
Hey, good. Hey, you guys are talking about, I think, that article that came out about moving Army Navy to the first part of the season. Well, first of all, that's never going to happen. And secondly, Joe, on your point about being cold, part of the Army Navy game is seeing everybody in their dress winter uniforms,
yes,
gray overcoats, and you're not going to do that in September or August. And by the way, I have been up there when it has been cold as you know what, and you're not going to wear that uniform in the summer. It's just not going to happen. But the one thing I've been an advocate of this, and I think it would really be a good thing, is I think there would be a lot of sense in moving the Army-Navy game for at least a couple of iterations to Nashville. Why do I say that? Well, it's an open-air stadium. It's still cold. And the thing I like about it is there are so many military bases within a half day's drive of Nashville where you could actually reserve a bunch of seats and have some real live soldiers there. And also there's a lot of naval bases that are in the same driving range. And I would love to see, some of those seats going to real soldiers and real sailors. But now it ain't going to move into the spring, but it certainly could move to Nashville for a couple of times.
Well,
that's all I got.
No, and thank you for that, Crawdad. I appreciate it. And if they did want to do this, and they would have to do it like in the next year or so because of the new stadium being built, and that's not going to be an open air stadium. Like it's going to have like a translucent roof, but it is not going to be an open air stadium. But the other part that he just talked about is if you are going to move the game around, I love his idea about doing it and moving it to places where you can bring military members in that are currently serving, whether they are at the Arsenal, whether they are at, Fort Bragg, or there's somewhere else, like kind of like what Major League Baseball did, where they went and actually had a baseball game on the actual grounds of Fort Bragg. Like, let's do that. Like, if we're going to make this thing even cooler than what it already is, and still do it in the wintertime, but, take this thing to Texas, or take this thing to Nashville before it goes, or wherever all military bases are, and you make not half the stadium, but half of the tickets that are available to go to the actual anybody that is not currently in school at Army or Navy. You give it to military members where they can come in, and you have them wear obviously their dress blues and their dress fatigue, all this stuff that they can wear. And then the game's even cooler than what it even was by making sure that our military members that are serving even on home soil, it has the ability to go to it.
Well, everybody's all about changing this game around, and I'm all for it regardless. I want to see it at the end of the year. I want to see it all like that. But, of course, those problems are going to throw out there of the playoffs. So that's always annoying. But it's not something that's probably going to change. You know what is going to continue to change? These wild games, these international games over in the NFL. And Joe, did you see this?
Well, but before you do it,
okay,
but no,
go.
I say this before you do this. I want to apologize to you if I am arrested here shortly, because I just looked up military bases in America map on Google, so I don't know who's going to be looking at my computer or my search history, but they may be wondering why I'm looking up military bases in America.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Ooh, dang, okay, never mind. This may be a very, very bad idea." But
don't people do that every once in a while though?
Yeah, but
just to do it.
I was genuinely curious about where all the military bases were, because what I was trying to find what major city. God, this sounds even worse. I was trying to find what major cities were near military bases so that we could see about different places that potentially could host the Army-Navy game. I still want it after the college football play, or after the conference championship weekend. I still want it in the cold. I still want it where, everybody's having to wear their dress blues and everything else they're having to wear. Like, I want that. But like one of them I'm looking at, and it is, I think it's like where like Fort Liberty is. That's in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So why not we go to Charlotte and have this, like in North Carolina, like something like that, like those types of places. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to want to just, fire shots at Army Navy, who's literally doing nothing but unifying the country for a minute when it comes to college football, let's think about a way to actually do it where it actually makes the game even better than what it already is.
Well, I mean, it was in Washington, so I feel like that's a pretty good spot to be in.
Depends on who's, depends on what you're feeling that day.
Kind of close to, the Carolinas and all that.
No, it's not close to the Carolinas.
It's right above it.
All I'm saying is I'm looking right now, and you're looking at the Virginia area, the Pennsylvania area. You start to kind of, when you look at the map that has where all the military bases are in the United States, those places, like where the game is being played right now, is one that you could actually see. Another one that I'm kind of looking at just casually as well is how many military bases are also around Kansas City in the Kansas and Missouri markets. Why not have this thing at Arrowhead? It fits literally everything that you talk about when it comes cold weather, winter, and around military bases. Do it there and invite military members from all the nearby bases to come to it. That, to me, would be better, and still keep it in the same spot.
Well, I was about to tell you, Joe, that the Dolphins look to be the team that's going to Madrid to make some history, the first NFL game to be in Spain. So lots of
That's
interesting
gonna be hot.
things.
That's the direct opposite of playing the game in the wintertime.
There's going to be 5 international games next season. I think this one finally rounds it out, but we still need to know who they're facing off against.
Yeah, we'll find that out. We'll find that out in a few weeks. It'll be after the draft is when the schedule release takes place. It may actually be a little bit before when the schedule release takes place, but slowly you're going to start finding out what teams are going to London, Spain, Germany, and those types of venues to kind of do it. And then when the schedule drops, we'll find out who their opponents are, because the NFL not only gets these, but then they also start sending out travel packages for everybody so that you could make the trip and just go ahead and start paying for it. So you get a ticket to the game, you get a hotel, you get travel, you get all that sort of stuff as a part of it. Let's go back to our phone lines, 256-576. 4977, and head up to the borough. Jeff, welcome in, man. How's it going?
Brother, how's it going, guys? So you spend money you don't have going to the game overseas, right?
Yeah, that's.
You don't have. If I'm an NFL owner, I never agree to that.
I'd be right there with you.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the whole let's send it one over. But from the rumor that I've been told for a few years is that eventually every team is going to have one game out of the country.
Well, I mean, yeah, they will, because that's what the NFL wants.
And that's the reason why they're also adding more football games, so that you're not losing revenue in losing a home game.
Of course, they're not going to take anything away. Of course, we're not. It'll be what's next? 20 games? Is it 20? What's next?
No, it will be. Yeah, no, 20. It will be. It'll go to 18, and then it'll
go to 20, then 25, then 30.
Then it's baseball.
40, then 45.
Yeah, then we're baseball.
That's what you guys want, true?
No, I genuinely don't. I think that the 18 games is already pushing it, or 18 weeks. It's
too
getting.
Much, really?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I love football because it is a special time. It's mainly in the fall and some of the winter, and then it's over, and then you can kind of reload going into the next time. Yeah, I mean some of the winter.
Okay.
But outside of like NASCAR that goes all year long and then starts back up in the span of like 2 months, it's too much.
Well, I mean, you must be in the minority then, because everybody wants more football. Y'all three must be the minority, because all people football. That's all it's about, is Are we gonna do this transfer portal this and NFL draft that? And who's going to draft what and all that. So.
Well, I mean, look, if I were making money off of setting up these schedules, then I would also want to throw out some more football games, just because that is so much more money that could be thrown my way. But I'm not, and I'm just a consumer of the sport itself, so I'm going to stick with the weeks that I have and then move on.
I know, but I'm just saying that. I mean, to be honest with you, if they play that many games, they should do away with the preseason.
Oh, no, they should. And that's eventually going to be the plan. Yeah, eventually it's going to be the plan is to get rid of the preseason.
I mean, don't even have. I mean, to me, it's a joke now. People paying full price to go to them games.
Oh, I agree.
It's a joke. Paying whatever they have to shell out to do it. I mean, but I did want to say two things, guys. I know you've seen the ratings for the playoffs. True.
Yes. Way
Way down. Is the college football season too long?
I think it's not this too long. I think it's distributed wrong. I don't think that it should be the games that are scheduled, especially for the college football playoff, should be scheduled the way that they are. I mean,
how are you going to differ? How's it going to be different?
Well, what you need to do is you need to have first you can't have somebody expect to go, okay, I've been conditioned to be watching football on Saturdays for 12, 13 weeks, and the next thing you know, I need to be watching important games on a Wednesday, or now I need to be watching important games on a Thursday, or something like that.
Well,
you need to have it. You need to keep it the exact same spot.
Then why are they doing that though? Is it competition with the NFL? True?
No, it's because ESPN. It's because ESPN is the one that's designing all of this, and it's about where they want to put it so that they can make sure they continue to make the most money out of the best ratings that they can get for their programming.
But what I'm saying is, if they played on Saturday, like you're talking about, they put up against the NFL.
No, if they scheduled it straight up against the NFL, absolutely they're going to be doing it. And that's the reason why ESPN doesn't do it, is because ESPN is in bed with the NFL. And so what they're doing.
That's why people complain about it being on a Monday night. I really don't care when they play. I just think I make the seasons too long anyway. I mean, to me, in my opinion, by January 1st, the season should be over with. It should be always have a champion crown. Like guys up here, he's been watching it. He said, I don't care who wins it. I'm not even going to watch the semifinals. The season's too long.
Yeah. No, I don't think the season needs to be going as long as it is. I think that you should, if we're talking about that whole Army-Navy weekend, I still think that you should have the college football games like literally the very next weekend after conference championship weekend. Let's just keep this thing going.
There's too much dead time.
Yeah, there's way too much dead time.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we have instead of a month, let's do it like this. So let's have you want to play a weekend? So let's play a quarterfinal on Friday, semifinal Saturday, championship Sunday. Let's do that 3 games. It's like baseball.
That is what I call a gong.
Come on. Come on. They're tough enough, ain't they? You don't need no stuff. Come on. You can travel across the country. You'll be all right.
I'm not even talking about the travel in the country. I'm thinking about the wear and tear on the body just from
trying
to play 2 or 3 games in a row.
Cares? The NFL don't care. NCAA, college don't either.
Well, three games in 10 days compared to 3 games in 3 days is a little bit different.
But baseball doesn't, don't they?
Well, yeah, baseball, they're also not hitting each other like a car crash every single play either.
Well, see, they throw a 100-mile fastball somebody's head. That dangerous?
Well, that also happens once every 300 games, not once every single play.
Okay. Well, I guess there. But the other thing I want to tell you guys, what do you guys think about the ruling about Title IX? You got to even the money out of the NIL money. Comments?
Oh no, I think that first off, that's the way that it should be, because all the players need to be getting this revenue. Like if they're going to be talking about revenue distribution with the athletes, they should all get to do it. The problem is that from a football standpoint is it wasn't going to change anything.
No.
Like they're still going to be.
What I'm saying is that they said before that these schools 80% of the money or 85% was going to go to football and men's basketball before this came out.
Yeah, and now
that's where the money was going to go.
And then the Department of Education says no, it has to be even distribution because of the title.
It's got to be even because you've got to pay, like you said, you got to pay every sport. You can't just pay the major ones. You got to pay everybody. And if you don't, it's a lawsuit waiting to happen, and you'll lose.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you actually have me thinking about now, because it's $22.5 million that is going to be having to be distributed between all the students. So if they're having, like, say, roughly, let's just say 500 athletes at their school, that means each athlete's going to get paid $45,000.
Whoa. That's still a lot, and that includes the volleyball players.
Yeah. But see, and here's the other question I had about this, Jeff, is because
it's every sport. It ain't just every sport.
Yeah, it's every sport. Yeah. Like we're talking golf, equestrian, every bit of that.
Water polo.
What sport? What sports a school? Not every sport. Not every school has every sport. What sports they have?
Right. I mean, we're not the club hockeys and those types of things aren't going to fall into
this. No, I don't know the ones that are favored the school. Yes,
but
club sports, no.
But like I'm thinking about this now, and I also wonder about, does this change the way that the school then goes with scholarships as that sort of thing? Like, do you now say, okay, well, if you're signing a contract to get this financial, this part of this $22.5 million, this is taking the place of your scholarship because you are signing a contract with the university? Like, does something like that now happen?
Yeah, but the thing about that is obviously which Ivy League school it was, that they wanted to be like union employees. That they dropped it.
Yep.
Over the holidays, they weren't going to do it now. They wanted to be like a union and say, okay, we're employees. So it's like, you're getting paid and being in the union and all that. Then I forget which Ivy League school. Y'all can look it up. I can't remember which one it was now. It was a basketball team, I think it was. And they wanted to be in a union, and then they said no, because the school wouldn't talk to them about it. And then over the holidays, they decided to drop it. They didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
They decided to drop it.
Like I just randomly looked up like what school in-state tuition and fees are for like just the state of Alabama, and this year it would be a little over $12,000. So do these students then, if they, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot more to this than just.
Is that the University of Alabama, or is that?
It just says the annual average in-state tuition at public.
Average.
Yeah, so it's the average. But like again, you were talking about Ivy League schools. Have any? I know you know, and we talk about. Think about how much money it is to go to an Ivy League school, and if they were to say get rid of scholarships because now they are paying.
But they don't give athletes. They give academic scholarships.
Absolutely, and they're D3. They give financial aid and all these other things.
D3 doesn't just stay in D3 out there financial ways. Academics, it's not.
So
athletics.
So it makes me wonder now, since this is a Title IX issue and they say that all athletes have to be paid the exact same across the board, is this going to change some of those things? That's just a hypothetical.
Well, the thing about when you're playing in schools like that, like Ivy League, or when you're playing most of the D3s, even the D2s too, a thing like playing in those leagues, like the Ivy League, they don't have to worry about transfer portal.
Nope.
They ain't got to worry about, I'm going to go to such and such, because they're there for the education, the education part of it.
Yeah.
They want to play the sport they're playing. Don't get me wrong, but they're there to get a top flight, one of the best educations in the world is what they're there to do.
Yeah.
They're not worried about all this NIL and pro and all the NBA, NFL, and all the other mess. They ain't worried about that. And also, did you see the other day where the women's teams now in the tournament? I can't remember what it was years ago for men's, but they're going to get it's not going to be equal, but they're going to get paid like depending on like each round you go in the tournament.
Yep.
Then you get so much. So the women's teams are going to start doing it now. I guess it's this year. I guess they'll start getting famous for however many rounds each round you go, you get more money for your conference or for your school. And then what do you guys think about Notre Dame getting $20 million? That's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh, no, I mean, it's amazing. And everybody wants to ask the reason why you don't. Why would you not, why do you not join a conference? Well, if you're making $20 million like every single round, why would you want to do this?
Well, I mean, that's for making the championship round. But I'm saying, if I'm Notre Dame, especially football, why do you want to join a conference?
No.
Everybody screams about them being in the conference, but if you're Notre Dame, why do you do it? Why do you fool?
I mean,
why do you want to share that money?
Financially, you're set. And Jeff, we do appreciate that call.
I appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Hey, thank you, sir. You too as well. And okay, so what he was talking about women's college basketball, by the way, the teams will now get paid for playing in the NCAA tournament just like the men do. So
it's sound.
It makes a lot of sense. And basically what they're saying is if you don't know that, for every single time a team advances to the next round of the NCAA tournament, there is a pod that they are, given, and every pod gets a certain amount of money. So if you have a team that makes it all the way to the championship game, they're getting six pods.
Yeah,
or six of those payments.
It's kind of similar to what happens in the tournament whenever it comes to the football side of things. Everybody gets a little bit of money, similar to Notre Dame's $20 million that they got just by winning.
And if you are Notre Dame and you've in the very first season of this thing, where everybody wanted to sit and blast you and
rake
say
it in,
you weren't supposed to be eligible and you shouldn't be doing this and you need to join a conference, and Notre Dame's getting screwed because they're only putting conference champions in the top 5. And they're now in the national championship.
You don't
game.
even want to be in the top 5.
You literally now can look back at everybody and just your double birds in the air. I know that they wouldn't do that, but they're double birds in the air saying, look at how much money we just brought in and we're about to bring in just by playing in this game on Monday.
Yeah, you know what the craziest thing is? You said 500 students getting paid a separated $25 million. Is that what you said?
I think the overall is I think each school, each D1 school is getting $22.5 million dollars. If I read that right,
that's a lot of money. It actually averages around the exact same amount of the average price to get into an Ivy League school for a semester. So what I'm thinking is you tag team this thing, get a few years of college football, get that money in, and then hey, you know what? You want to go to Ivy League school? You got 2 years worth of 2 semesters worth of money to do it. So why not?
Well, and look, the whole concept of getting rid of scholarships or changing the way that the universities now are paying these student athletes while they are on campus, because this isn't like, and a lot of people don't understand this, is like you just don't sit there and if you're on a scholarship, you don't go into the bookstore and you just swipe your card and it says student athlete and you just go get whatever book you want. Like, you are given a financial aid and you're given a certain amount of money, and it's like you have to call and you have to talk to somebody and they're like, hey, we added this, like with, let's just say UAH, hey, your Charger card has your money for your books on there right now. Like,
I'll be honest with you, Joe. The more that I think about this, the more I'm thinking that they just need to take scholarships away from athletes and just replace it with the money that they were starting to give us. Now, if we're talking about a D2 or a lower, ranked school, that's a different story. Of course, you want to help those people because they don't have the same opportunities. But at the same time, there's more academic scholarships that could be given out compared to all of these athletic scholarships that are kind of totally getting just cut down, void.
Well, and that's the reason why I asked that question. Like, would a university, and look, this is a cost-benefit analysis type thing where there's somebody at a university now that is thinking, okay, if we have to pay 500 some odd students, and look, that number was a number that's looked up on Google. Like, I'm telling you, like, this isn't scientific fact. Okay, but if this is happening and you say, now we've got to pay 500 students money from this pot, okay, well, do we now consider getting rid of scholarships and part of this pay is going towards their school? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they still can make NIL. They can still do every bit of this. I'm just curious as to if that would be another step down the line as we continue this now because of what Title IX has said, with the fact that everybody has to get paid the exact same.
256-576-97.7, the number 2. Hop in as we head into the final segment of this fun Friday in No Man's Land. I know we didn't get to the cover 5. Maybe we'll squeeze one in. Maybe we'll squeeze one in.
I have plenty, okay. Man. It just comes off the brain. Boom, 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 boom. As we continue, phone line still open as we wrap up the Blitz right here on 97.7 ESP in the Zone.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
It's bowl season on ESPN Radio, including the college football playoff and national championship game. The electricity, the atmosphere. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the college football playoff national championship, presented by AT&T. Coverage begins Monday, January 20th at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
It's the beauty of college football.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
I wanna thank you
Thank you for making us your #1 choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
So if you were wondering, as John just mentioned this a little while ago, on the Blitz at 256-576-4977, that the Miami Dolphins have been selected as the home team to play in Spain when the NFL goes to Madrid. Now, you're probably asking, like, okay, so why did they announce who the home team is? Like, it's kind of, that's confusing. Well, part of the reason is, and I've been researching this just for a little while, even as we were talking to Jeff, has to do with the fact that if you are considered the home team, that means that your home fans have the ability to include this in their season ticket package.
Ooh, okay.
So you were wondering about, well, don't they lose money? Don't they lose revenue? All of that sort of stuff. Like, Jeff was asking about that. It has to do with the fact that the fans can choose to opt in to also pay for tickets to, say, like when the Titans went to London a couple of seasons ago, they can opt in to play that game or to have tickets to that game when the Titans were playing the Ravens over in London. They can opt in for it. But if you are the visiting team, you're not making any money off of it, so it's just counted as a regular road trip game, and so you don't have to be a part of that. Because you're not going to sell as many tickets for the London series or Madrid series or anything else like that, the NFL also gives the home team $1 million to help kind of benefit the game that's going to be lost,
as they should,
in your city. So they're trying to balance this out, but those are the different ways that teams are going to be making money in this. Coming up tonight, Havoc Zone. You have the Huntsville Havoc hosting the Macon Mayhem. That game's also going to be again tomorrow night. Puck drop is at 7 o'clock tonight. It's not only on the Havoc Zone, it's not also on Flow Hockey, but it is also on 48.3 WAFF. And don't forget, UAH basketball coming up tomorrow as well. And
NFL playoffs this weekend. We'll see you guys next week here on The Blitz.
Love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express